Matt Dominance, the hair growth expert on YouTube,
Your tour guide to the dark side of biohacking.
who's done reaction videos to Connor Murphy's hair transplants. We've got them all together so we can learn the insider secrets of growing hair and do hair transplants work? And should I get a hair transplant? And am I going to have to worry about a lot of maintenance after the hair transplant so my hair doesn't fall out again? All right. So I mean, start, because this is like an epic collaboration here.
Yeah, well, I wish that I would have put more powder in my hair if I knew we were going to be collaborating with him tonight, you know? I feel like my hair is looking like shit, but I don't know. Matt, what do you think? How's the hair looking right now?
Like, can you maybe comb through it a little bit? Yeah, it looks
Oh,
good
you want
from
everyone
the
to
front.
see my receding hairline, huh? Okay.
Straight into
lift
the
it up.
exposure. Yeah, let's expose it. All right. Okay. It looks pretty grown in to me from here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can see where each follicle is. I mean, it can definitely tell it's a hair transplant, and it's definitely not as dense as natural hair.
Yeah.
But when he combs it over like that, and then added just a little of the powder I just started showing him, how to use, then it actually looks really good.
Yeah. And that's how you can really tell, like, if you go to the artist who is the best of the best, he can make it look like you can do any hairstyle and it still you're gonna look good from any angle. But if you go to somebody who maybe doesn't do it like the best, or you bust that head and you notice some gaps where it didn't grow in, where it doesn't have the same direction, and that's how we can identify that maybe. But you still have some options. It's better than having no hair. Still can play with the hair, and
So what do you think he should do now? He had the hair transplants, but he's lost some of the hair. What does he do to prevent losing any more of the hair he has, and also losing the hair transplanted hair, like protecting the new hair?
It's important to see what the person is already using, what he used in the past, and what worked and what didn't work. So usually guys start with Minoxidil first because it's very non-invasive. It's over the counter, so they start applying it for 6 months, 12 months. Usually you get some quick boost, but then it stops working because without Finasteride, it doesnit have the power to be so long lasting, let's be honest. And then they actually may try Finasteride and see how it works, whether they can tolerate it. And assuming you have done that already and you still lose more hair, then you need to do some more upgrades and do something on top of that, even replace Finasteride with something more potent that will get rid of more DHT in your scalp.
I heard that the hair transplanted hair should be more resistant to DHT because it's the hair that still exists, even after DHT does its damage. So but you still lost some hairs, right? So their DHT must still affect hair transplanted hair.
So did you lose the transplanted hair, or did you lose the existing hair, Connor?
I don't believe I've lost the transplanted hair. I mean, you can't know for sure, like exactly specifically, right? On each follicle, but I don't think I've lost the transplanted hair, only the normal hair.
So it's thinning out, like you're losing more of your normal hair, but the hair transplanted hair is staying.
Yeah, because I mean, when they did the hair transplant, there was still normal hair in that area, and so losing the normal hair would make it thin out, but there would still be some.
Yeah, but what was the medicine that you took throughout the time when you got your transplant, or even before? Was it Minoxidil only? What was it?
Well, it's changed over time. I mean, I started out using Minoxidil, and then I actually was taking a combination of topical Finasteride with retinol and maybe one other thing. So it was this tincture I got from a doctor in LA. And then I switched over to natural stuff. So different essential oils. I mean, there have been studies that show that peppermint peppermint seems to work almost as good as Minoxidil, fairly close. I don't know how true that I just, some studies I've seen that have said that, maybe rosemary oil. And I would use a tincture of some certain fatty acids, like, what's it called? The fatty acid that starts with a G.
Gamma-linoleic acid.
Yeah, I think gamma-linoleic acid.
But
again, maybe, hey, I don't know. I'm not completely up to date on the science, just heard that worked. And so I used kind of a tincture of that. And yeah, recently, until I came to Thailand, I was using that tincture. But then when I got to Thailand, Tony's, he he said I should hop back on minoxidil and some ketoconazole
Yeah.
spray, and so I thought might as well.
Yeah. Well,
Because I was
certainly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, because I was like ready to shave my head. I'm like, well, this is the thing. It's like, so personally, I'm honestly not really attached to the hair.
But and he does all the spiritual type stuff and this yoga stuff, you know, so it could kind of fit. But like, I would not go there unless it's the last resort.
Right. Well, anyway, because if I wasn't in the fitness industry, I'd probably just shave my head. You know, if I went into the personal development space only, I don't see why not shave your head. You know what I mean? That's maybe a sign of confidence. Like that might fit that character. But for a fitness character, it makes sense to have hair, and so I think I should keep it. But man, that's why I haven't been really trying to hang on to it that much, because I've just been using the natural tincture. So since I'm in Thailand and Tony's got me back in the fitness game, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to step up the game a little bit and keep the hair.
Well, there certainly is like confidence in the evidence that you find in the literature, like studies that are like the randomized placebo studies, like the highest standard for the study, and then the ones that maybe you have read. These are like observational studies done on like small group of people. Maybe they didn't even have suffered from androgenetic alopecia, some random hair shedding disorder on some older women, post-menopause hair loss and whatnot. Like you cannot really identify it with that character. It's not your hair loss necessarily, but it shows really good regrowth, and they market it as this thing could actually help you regrow hair like minoxidil. But that's the first problem. So maybe if you look at the studies that are more legit, where they compare to the placebo group as well, you can really say like, okay, this thing worked 10% better or 15% better than doing nothing. But with these oils and the remedies, you cannot tell it, because there is no such high quality study done on these treatments, unfortunately. Talking about pumpkin seed extracts, you mentioned the rosemary, peppermint, all these things have been shown. Also the saw palmetto extract, which is a weaker form of dutasteride because it has 5-alpha reductase 1 and 1 type 2 blockage because of these acids that kind of compound the saw palmetto. So it's certainly possible to use this topically with some microneedling for better enhancing of that formula. But
yeah, real quick, I forgot to mention, I forgot to mention. Sorry, because I do the microneedling as well. I have been, and I've also been taking the saw palmetto. So that's something I forgot to tell you.
Okay.
Hair regimen.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah.
Okay. So that's definitely something that you already did, which is again at the weakest potency level. I consider all of these natural remedies and extracts, and then I would rank probably minoxidil. And then if you add microneedling to it, you increase the potency, and then even better for long-term sustainable transplanted and existing hair maintenance will be finasteride, right? Either topical or oral. You can try different formulations which give you like less side effects, more comfort and whatnot. And then certainly can be a discussion about it, because the topicals definitely have less side effects potential on different fronts, like sexual or mental, and you can definitely play with those. And then on top of that even will be something like dutasteride, which is even stronger than finasteride, and maybe even adding some topical anti-androgens, things that play with the androgen receptor of the hair follicle. And right now we will have a product like that available in Korea, which will be commercialized maybe this next month, should be available in Europe already in a month. And it's called Cosme RNA. And this thing will pretty much will be working on mRNA. It's like maybe something like the vaccine technology. It's the messenger RNA, and it will pretty much be silencing your androgen receptor of the follicle from interacting with the testosterone or DHT. So it will pretty much make you like less susceptible over the long run. Comparable to finasteride from the clinical research in terms of like potency for now, without the side effects, of course, but it's only like 6 months study, so we don't know how it affects you in 2, 3, 7 years or so.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. Okay, so until that's ready, then the finasteride protocol. So here's how I approach it, and tell me where my thinking is right or wrong. So I knew a lot of people, I coach clients on using chemistry. So I see what happens when they take finasteride and not and all that. And I noticed that a lot of people that take the high dosage of finasteride get these low DHT side effects. And then the ones that take the lower the dosage they take, the less of these side effects they get. But there must be some dosage where there's like a law of diminishing return, where it's the most benefit with the least amount of risk. And for me, I've been doing like one finasteride, 1 milligram, just like a couple times per week, just on erring on the very, very low side, getting some benefit from it. But I also don't take a lot of steroids that would convert to DHT. I mean, I take steroids, so I should probably take more finasteride. But I'll say like most bodybuilders don't take finasteride, and I do. And I also take low dosage of testosterone, so my DHT is not as high, anywhere near as high as a bodybuilder, let's say. But so what do you think? Is that enough to make a difference? Or you think I'm not taking
that's
enough?
usually enough. Even if you take low dose TRT, finasteride is enough. If you're a bodybuilder, dutasteride is the safer option. But even if you take finasteride as a bodybuilder and you don't see degradation within many years, like it's good to still take it and then upgrade once you see more hair loss kind of taking over. Yeah, but in terms of what you're taking, I mean, I'm not a doctor. As far as the dosing, cannot advise, but I know which dose has, like, based on studies, like the what you said, like the start of diminishing returns. So if you take 0.2 milligram per day or 25, like one quarter of the pill per day, it seems to have very good protection in the long run, while not suppressing too much of the DHT systemically. And the more you go to like 1 milligram, the more you go from 1 and more, it doesn't make almost any sense, because then you just kind of accumulate your finasteride in the system, and it doesn't give you any additional scalp DHT suppression, because you eventually want to reach a good scalp DHT suppression, not the systemic one. The systemic is just a proxy to show how good it works, kind of, but it must translate into blocking the DHT in the scalp eventually. Yeah, that's why things like these anti-androgens and these potential silencers of the receptors in the scalp are good, because it will just work on the scalp tissue, and it may work better. You may combine finasteride with that. It's going to be much better than dutasteride, because by just kind of increasing the DHT suppression, you're not gonna completely cure hair loss, because it's just one part of the equation, the DHT.
So DHT is maybe the largest factor in hair loss. But what do you think about all the vitamins and minerals? Like, do you see sometimes someone has a deficiency in a vitamin or a mineral or some other micronutrient that is causing them hair loss? I mean, I know it happens sometimes, but is it anything common?
Yeah, I had like thousands of calls with guys over the last 40 years. I observe forums, I observe groups, and talk to doctors. And I tell you, the people who get these micronutrient deficiencies are usually women, statistically more likely. If you are a man, it's going to be very small percentage that's going to attribute to more hair loss. But it's never going to express itself as the male pattern baldness, what we have with the corners receding. It's just a shedding disorder. That means that it can coexist together with your androgenetic alopecia, and you will not know how much of your hair loss could be attributed to AGA and how much to the shedding disorder as a result of the deficiency. But the deficiencies I'm not encountering very frequently. Actually today I had a call with a guy who got deficient in selenium and calcium, and then he evened out that, and then he got less shedding. So that's once in a year maybe that I speak to somebody like that. But even more common, it's vitamin D deficiency that causes telogen effluvium, like seasonal shedding usually happens in winter. That's why people get it also maybe after winter, where the kind of the storages of vitamin D get empty if you're living in the northern hemisphere, and then you get like diffuse hair loss across the whole scalp, and then you lose more hair on a daily basis. And it's simple, just up your vitamin D dose, and that's pretty much it. And sometimes the other mineral could be iron, but iron is a little bit more complex. It's also more by women who menstruate, they bleed, they lose more blood, so they're gonna become more iron deficient. But with iron, you have also the ferritin levels. That's the carrier of iron. It's a protein that carries the iron to the cells. makes it bioavailable. Essentially, that's why you can have iron levels high and still have hair loss because your ferritin is low. But that's something which can be caused by, you know, hypothyroidism. You don't make enough T3, T4 hormones and calcitonin. These are the thyroid hormones. Could cause the ferritin levels to be low. But again, this is more common by women, not by men. Every trichology book, every dermatology hair loss book will tell you that vitamin D, iron, and maybe zinc are the most, you know, deficient to be kind of in minerals that cause hair loss. But hair loss meaning the shedding disorder, like a shortened type of thing that can self-recover sometimes, or once you correct that deficiency. Yeah. But it's not very common at all. And things like biotin that is being marketed heavily, that you should take, like it's very unlikely you get deficient in this. Like it's very unlikely unless, yeah, maybe not in the first world at least, where we have enough of it everywhere.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. You know, I recently actually started trying this substance. So I've heard a lot of good anecdotal reports on this. And it's an interesting substance because it seems pretty natural, yet it contains a lot of hormones that may or may not be androgenic. But I'm curious to hear your opinion. So semen, topical semen. What do you think about
Well, I have not read into that yet, like whether it was a study or whether it was your trial that you performed.
It was 100% a Connor Murphy trial. There's no
All right.
studies on that. I'm just fucking with
That's
you.
why.
But no,
why.
what I am curious,
Yeah.
what I'm curious about actually. So we were thinking of doing topical dutasteride. Actually, we were thinking about doing that, and some people have told me that it might go systemic. Some people have said it's fine. And like I microneedle, so I feel like microneedling might give it a higher chance of going systemic, right? But what do you think about that? Because I had bad experiences with finasteride. I totally had post-finasteride syndrome. My workouts weren't as good. My sex drive was like low. I even had like erectile dysfunction. It made my physique not as aesthetic. Like, don't want to go there again. So what do you think about something like topical finasteride?
Yeah. Okay, that's first of all interesting what you said about the finasteride, because it rarely has the potential to affect people that way. But there could be another point for another discussion, I guess. But back to topical dutasteride with microneedling, it certainly needs microneedling because every study that we have so far, and we have like 2-3 good ones with the placebo group included, they always use the needling device. So they never use topical dutasteride without needling, because they know that it does not really penetrate sufficiently, unlike minoxidil. Like it doesn't have such a, it's a heavy molecule that is already on the border of almost not being absorbed through the skin because of the Dalton rule. It needs to have a certain molecular weight to be properly absorbed. And dutasteride topical seems to be very heavy. That's why you need to always do the microneedling to make it more effective. Now, what is the ideal concentration of the of the dutasteride, and what's the ideal microneedling kind of length and frequency? So what the studies say is anywhere from 0.01% topical dutasteride to 0.025% have been used in the studies across 3 studies, I think, and it was like once per week only applied 1 to 2 milliliters of that. So you don't use it every day; you use it just once a week, and you microneedle like yeah, that's convenient. Yeah, that's quite convenient. Yeah. And in 2 of those studies, they additionally used the 1.5 millimeter to 2.5 millimeter microneedling depth. 1.5 is you can tolerate it without the numbing cream like lidocaine that can numb your scalp, but the 2.5 millimeter can hurt more if you use like a conventional device. If you use the Derminator, it's a special microneedling device. It hurts less with long device that you can use at home for good microneedling sessions.
Do you use the same needle over and over again, Connor?
I mean, I switch out the derma roller every few months or something like that. Yeah.
So well, I would advise to do the derma roller. I think the pen is more effective. You can get better wounding. If you have longer hair, it's easier to get in between, you know.
I have the pen at the house. So yeah,
Okay, nice.
with a lot of tips, lots of different sizes and everything.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, speaking of needles that hurt, you did a reaction to my hair transplant or half a hair transplant without local anesthetic, right? Did I remember that right? Did you do a video on that?
I couldn't believe what I've seen. Yeah, I was super wow. Did this just happen? It's crazy. Like, didn't it hurt? Like, what did you feel during the?
Oh, of course. It hurt so
Yeah,
bad. That was part of the challenge. That was kind of the whole
yeah,
challenge, right? It was like a personal development challenge because there's a funny story
yeah,
behind the second hair transplant, right? So I
yeah.
was trying to like dramatically and theatrically switch over to the personal development space. And one of my little stunts was to get a hair transplant without local anesthetic to test the power of the mind. But then as like a joke, shave it like right that when the results started to come in, right? To kind of show like a confidence without, despite your external appearance, right? Some sort of personal development message like that, right? And so, yeah, I got the hair transplant without anesthetic. And then like 4 or 5 months later, when the results started to show, I said, fuck that. And I just like shaved it off. And actually, it was really cool. It was like really liberating because, you know, I went many months with extremely short, shaved hair at first and then extremely short hair and, you know, not thick hair. Like it didn't look great. And yeah, it was a cool process to go through, you know? And so, I mean, I like my hair now because I'm going to be in the fitness space, of course, but it's cool to like do that once and kind of get over your fear. And then you enjoy your hair even more because, you know, you're not like so worried about, okay, if it does go away, then it's, yeah. So it was but yeah, that was an interesting story. But anyway, yeah, I'm very surprised that that doctor actually did that. Like that was amazing. Like that, like because I don't feel like many doctors would actually say that that's okay. And we had to stop about halfway through because it was bleeding so much because apparently the numbing actually helps with the bleeding. And so, yeah, but it was an interesting experience.
Yeah, the bleeding could be a problem for sure if you do not numb. Yeah, I'm glad that it at least grew in. I mean, it was done on the crown. Like the front has been numbed, right? And on the crown, you decided to not do numb, right?
Oh no, we didn't numb. I don't remember exact. Oh, let me think. Well, later in the hair transplant, we did numb it, right? So I don't know how much was done beforehand. I think maybe we started on the crown. Yeah, I'm not. I think I might have. I'd have to watch the video again, actually. But yeah, I just know that he stabbed me with some needles and it really hurt. But it was a fun challenge to like get through the pain. Also, because like I feel like no one's ever done that before, right? So it was a cool thing to be like probably the first person to do it. I don't know who would be crazy enough to try. So I don't know. I thought it made a fun YouTube video.
Right, right. Yeah, probably not the best marketing for the doctor who allowed that, because I think he was also kind of like respected doctor who was known, kind of older guy already, kind of reputable. And I remember some people from the hair restoration community were really outraged about this and started
Really?
you know, even delisted him from some recommended doctor forums and things like these because he did that. Yeah, yeah. They kind of considered it quite
Really?
unethical. Yeah, yeah.
Well, if that's true, that makes me feel like shit. Like
Colin apologized.
I know. I mean, I would have never thought that would happen because I mean,
Yeah, you can
I
try
completely like
reach
agreed
out to
to it,
him.
right? Yeah, that's interesting.
No,
Wow.
no, make a video that you're the victim and he did it to you against your will.
No, it was totally my idea. Like he advised against it. He was like, "Yeah, maybe if you really want to, sure." But I mean, he was like, "It's gonna hurt." Most people don't do this.
On his defense, I need to say that there used to be Turkish clinics in early 2000, like the first pioneers of FUE in Turkey. They used to also do it without numbing, okay? And they did like small surgeries, only like 400 grafts. That was like the maximum back in the days. And they also did not numb much, or they numbed a little bit, and that was quite okay. And I know people who used to do surgeries before and they haven't been numbed, and it hurt a lot, but it was kind of bearable for 400 grafts. That's not so much, but if you do 3,000, then it's like a couple hours of being numbed.
Right. But see, I mean, that makes me feel bad. Like if I completely agreed to the pain and knew what I was getting into, you would think that he wouldn't be held responsible for that. But man, I feel kind of bad about that. I would take that video down if that would help him, but it sounds like I mean,
no, it's too bad.
I mean, if he hasn't reached out to you about this,
well, maybe it's possible that. Well, also though, there was probably some positive. I mean, people found out about him. Like there was some positive marketing involved. Maybe he got extra. Maybe who knows if it was a net positive or a net negative.
It was a net positive. You can sleep tonight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. That could,
oftentimes it may appear negative, especially the doctors look at him maybe negatively, but sometimes patients, they just say like,
Why
okay,
would it?
that's a potential doctor for me. I can check him out.
Yeah. Why would a patient care, right? Because it's not like he's going to force them to get a surgery without local anesthetic. Like if I was a patient and I saw that, I'm like, okay, just put me on the drugs, like no big deal.
Mm,
So yeah, I
mm,
think he should
mm,
be fine.
mm.
But that's really interesting. I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Tell yourself whatever you need to. Connor.
Yeah, I'm going to be telling myself that it was a net positive and that I brought him in, hundreds of clients from that video. Man,
Yeah.
oh man, maybe I should reach out and see, but
Send him
I
a
don't know if
postcard from Thailand with your study
yeah.
on the Thai guys.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Matt, when you come into Thailand,
I think I should come because I've never been to Asia. So maybe next winter I will be spending not in Southern America, but in Asia, more like Philippines, Thailand. Maybe Bali for surfing. It's nice.
the Philippines I like a lot. Yeah. But
Mm.
Thailand is my favorite place. Yeah. Yeah. Consider Thailand.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
made a
But
base. You made a nice base out there, right? It's pretty much.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could network the hair clinics here and probably make some good connections. A lot of people travel to Thailand for surgeries and
Yeah, true.
So that's definitely
Yeah,
a popular
especially
thing.
for Asian hair, it's very good place, and also for Europeans. Good doctors who could handle our hair very well too, like Caucasians.
See if you can
US,
find a
Europe.
doctor that can take Asian hair and put it in our scalp.
Even if it's possible, it's not possible. Even if it would be, I think it wouldn't look so nice because like Asian hair is super thick. Even the single follicle is the thickest one out of all of the races. So it would look probably super, maybe pluggy even, and it's super dark. So on you maybe, but on Connor, on me, we have lighter hair. So I don't. You would need to color that. Maybe for
It's
you,
amazing
Tony.
that he
Let's
has a
do it for
response
you.
to that. Like he knows he's such an expert on hair. He knows every race's
Well, I wasn't giving
like
you
diameter
I
of
wasn't
hair
giving you a
follicle.
challenge. Though. How about a cat's hair on a human head? I mean, it
Cat's
sounds like I'm
hair.
joking, but
Yeah,
seriously,
yeah.
man,
That's
I didn't want to
that
have
would
to do the
be.
research on this, but I know this must be coming, right?
I mean, that would be, especially animals' hair. It's several times more thicker than human hair. Like cat's hair, probably not. But if you would do sheep, then it would be like you would need to have very huge opening in your scalp. It would be super invasive procedure, I think, because the sheep hair is incredibly thick. But no, I mean, your immune system would reject that, right? Because it's
right.
like
so obviously, but you're on the cutting edge of all this hair stuff. You must see some kind of hope for some scientific development. I mean, you okay. It sounds like you're getting close there with the topical thing with the mRNA and the antigen receptor and all that. Okay, so that sounds like one of the best things possible. But the next level would be like putting a synthetic hair in our scalp. So I know it's not available now, but have you seen anything?
No, it's been available for a long time already. Synthetic hair implants are common. It just most of the clinics get shut down too early because patients complain, inflammation will kick in, and they will be shut down. But it used to be a bigger thing. I think maybe 10 years ago, but right now not many people even try it because it's just gonna cause inflammation and you lose those hairs eventually. But synthetic hair implants I made a video on it, I think last year. So you can potentially do it if you want. There are some places where still operate with synthetic hair.
Oh, and how about stem cells and PRP, but more like the stem cells?
Yeah, PRP, not really. I mean, it first has been hoped that it's something really that can promote more than it can. And now they just injected it kind of if somebody has shedding disorder, more shedding than normal, sometimes improves, especially with women, PRP works better because it's non-androgenetic related hair loss. But for androgenetic related hair loss types, PRP sucks. But stem cells, we have exosomes. These are also like the messengers. They also work on mRNA basis. They kind of inject them, however. So it's harder to apply, unlike a cream that you could do like once a week, like this mRNA thing. So exosomes, they're super expensive, injectable. Not many good studies on those yet to see how much they could improve, and you don't know the ideal frequency and concentration of these exosomes for optimal results. So this is still in the research phase, but we have a new potential treatment in the hair transplants where it could regrow some of the harvested hair in the donor. It's called verteporfin, and it already has been tested on human skin, where they used some hair on a centimeter square and then injected the verteporfin, and after a couple of months, some of the hair got back. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, in the hair loss industry, we had a company very like kind of promising in Japan, like 3 companies, and one, I think they got broke and then kind of left the other guys there stuck, and then slowed down the research that way. It was called Dr. Suji from Japan, and he kind of collaborated with other companies who developed the tools for hair cloning. It was already a hair cloning project, and they still work on it, but now it's kind of slowed down because one of the companies didn't make it, kind of. So that's what we have. But on the way of being commercialized, and that's where I really look on my channel. If I post a video, I look at products and treatments that are already in the human trials, that they tested on human scalps, not animals or outside of human body in a lab. And these are the androgen receptor silencer. Then we have the topical anti-androgen. We have 2 of them. We have the pyrolutamide, which is something like RU58841, if you know, from the hair loss community. But this one has already some human data behind it, so we know it has been tested on humans, no side effects, will likely be approved in the 0.5% concentration. So we have that, and then we have from a Chinese company, and the same Chinese company makes another one, GT229. It's a very interesting project that should supposedly actually destroy your androgen receptor in the follicle. That means even that if you have super androgenic environment in the scalp, it should not cause hair loss in theory. If you have a lot of DHT and testosterone, it's a degrader. It's not a silencer, but degrader. It should degrade the receptor. Yeah.
We can take way more steroids now. I mean, that's the solution. Just kill the receptor, and then you can take all the steroids you want.
Yeah.
How is that achieved? What is that? A topical injection? How is that achieved?
No, that's a topical product. It's like Minoxidil.
Really?
It will be applied like Minoxidil, essentially. Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to be that effective. Yeah, that's already in the first human trial. So maybe in 3 years, 2-3 years.
Well, the good news why I'm especially excited is because I know if they're going to come out with this that may be effective, let's say 20% of get rid of androgen receptors, then of course we're just one step closer to getting to 30%, 40%, 50%. Like I was just hoping there's some kind of science going in the right direction somewhere. And you've given me hope, Matt. Like I am so relieved after talking to you, because I was kind of losing hope that, I mean, you'd think with the billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars that would be available for companies to that develop some things in this category, you'd think there would have been more advancements. So I was just thinking like, God, with all this science and money and motivation and there's no advancement, is it just not possible? What's going on? And it sounds like we are going to have some solutions. And also this was some great interim things that we can do to prevent us losing any more hair as well. So Matt, thank you.
Yeah. I think if you combine that on top of finasteride as a bodybuilder, or on top of dutasteride, you should be good. You should be good for a long time. With even more than TRT dose of testosterone, you should be probably fine.
I feel like I want to live long enough to where the science is developed where you can live forever. Because like one of these generations coming up is going to be the one that just lives forever. Is that us, or is it our children, or is it our grandchildren? And if for the same thing goes our hair, like I hope we just make it long enough in our life to where they find something to where we won't lose any more hair, so that we can just keep the hair that we have and never worry about losing it again.
You know what would
Yeah, I
suck
think
if you were...
that's what every generation before us was hoping for. Like, yeah, it's gonna be us. No, there are actually articles from 1960s, 80s that say like, yeah, hair loss cure is just around the corner. Just hang in there, 2 more years. It's kind of always repeating itself, and I think they create that hope with each generation. That's why I'm also a little bit of skeptical and really just look to the products that are actually in the human research already and no animal research, where you can spend like a half a century, like essentially doing some lab work with animals and try, like, we grew hair on mice, but mice hair complexity is different than human hair. And many things grew hair on mice. I mean, even peppermint oil, I think, that you mentioned before, actually grew hair on mice very well. But if you put the same amount on your hair, it's not going to happen.
Right. Interesting. And there's incentive from these hair loss companies to keep giving us false hope, right? Because so we might get to a point where you can keep all your existing hair, right, but not actually grow some back. And so, what was I going to say? Where was I going with this?
Well, hopefully we make it long enough to where... That's what I was saying.
No, you said that you will be able to keep your hair that you have, but not like regrow new hair with these treatments, or?
Oh yeah, and so pharmaceutical or the hair loss companies are incentivized to kind of give us the false hope, so people don't shave their head. They keep using the products, right? Because some people might just give up, shave their head, stop using the products, right? Because they don't think that they have a chance. So if the pharmaceutical companies keep giving us this false hope, we'll keep using their products, right? And in the hope that one day we can keep our hair with so we still have hair to keep, so we can use the product that keeps it all. I don't know if that makes sense.
Matt, have you ever had a case where you told someone they should just shave their head?
Absolutely. I'm not pushing anybody to get a surgery, especially if I see that he's not a good candidate. It's just, saving him from, spending money, like thousands of money on something that will work for him maybe 1 year or maybe even not at all. And then he will shave it off eventually anyways, or get kind of, trampled by a Turkish clinic for 2,000-3,000 and then trampled over. That's the word for it, I guess. And
But did you ever actually say, like, you would look good with a shaved head? Like, don't worry about it. Your hair transplant's not for you, but you'd look good with a shaved head.
If they ask me, like, do I look good with shaved head? Do you think I just say, try it, because that's what I did myself. And I didn't like it for the first time for sure. And then I just, from that point, I tried to grow my hair back and inform about how to grow it back with treatments. But I lived with it for a year, I think, in my early 20s. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But then you get the feedback from life and you see how people kind of, respond to it. Or maybe if you're a fitness influencer like Connor, and you see how many views, engagements you get, or how people take it, and you notice that I think maybe it's better with hair. And then you get the feedback and you notice whether it's for you or not, whether it's worth pursuing the hair in your circumstances. And but there are also guys who shave their heads and they have super good donor and they could be the best candidate, and they don't know. They just shave their heads all their life until somehow they maybe stumble upon this possibility, and then they can pursue it easily.
Yeah, but it's interesting. One of the reasons why we don't want to shave my head is because in Thailand, like, people are more intimidated by, they're more shy and they're more intimidated by like bodybuilders, and like, I don't know. I feel like if I shave my head, I would be a little too intimidating, especially when we're filming videos. It's more difficult to get people in videos in Thailand because they're kind of shy. They don't want to be on camera. I feel like they're already into, like, I'm taller and bigger than most Thai people. I feel like if I shave my head, I kind of look like a convict with my head shaved. I feel like it looks like I've been to prison. And so I feel like people would respond kind of negatively to that. But it could be different in a different culture, because a shaved head does, like, studies have shown, increased signs of like dominance, intelligence, like authority, kind of, so it kind of depends on the culture too.
I think you need the hair, because otherwise the assumption is you lost your hair because of steroids.
Oh,
you're just and you hate that. You hate being called a fake natty.
That's already been one of the narratives. Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. Do you want to
Yeah.
confirm, or is it a conspiracy theory that you
Oh
lost
yeah,
your
it's 100% a. Oh yeah, it's 100% a conspiracy theory. Yeah, I mean Tony knows I've been living with him the past month or so, and I mean I'm natural. I've never taken.
Okay, now.
Yep, the
Okay.
microphone disconnected and had to reactivate it.
Okay, nice. But yeah, I've been living with Tony for a month. He hasn't seen me inject any testosterone. And I mean, we've got my physique essentially back to its peak. I mean, I'm not quite lean enough, but I have more muscle on me than I ever have. I'm heavier than I ever have. I'm at 220 pounds. And so, no, this physique is relatively natural.
Nice.
I mean, we call it Natty Plus because I do take a growth hormone secretagogue and technically a pro hormone, but a pro hormone that doesn't suppress natural testosterone. So no, the decline in my physique, because the narrative was that my physique declined because I was on gear, and then because of my hair loss, I hopped off gear. But no, the decline in my physique, first of all, my metabolism was destroyed because of my show. Honestly, I had pretty bad post-finasteride syndrome. I know that that's pretty rare, but it definitely affected me. It even gave me some gyno. It even gave me some slight gyno. And then because my metabolism was so fucked after my competition, I just restricted calories, tried to stay really lean. I started doing intermittent fasting, which it actually isn't great for bodybuilding. I am not doing that now, and that's really been helping. But there are a lot of just little things, and I also stopped caring about
Little
letting
things,
everything
yeah, I
go.
think so too. Yeah, I remember you did like a huge fast, like 40 days, or I don't know how many days, like fast.
Well, yeah, the narrative that I lost my hair and then stopped steroids, that was well before the fast, and my physique declining, that was well before the
Okay.
fast. But of course, the fast was a reason why later on my physique really lost a lot of muscle. Of course, yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, since then it's been a couple of years, and I've gained what, like 70 pounds back from probably 70 pounds in a couple of years. Yeah, I mean, I guess for fitness, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I like the 40-day fast physique better. I was more agile. I mean, I felt better, but if for fitness, yeah, if you want to look like this and I want to be in the fitness world, this physique is a lot better. So
Agree. Yeah. That's probably what works better in that niche. How about Tony's physique?
We actually weigh the same, but I'm 5. Yeah, I'm good. There we go. Get our tricep in there.
So he's definitely a little bigger, a little more shredded. Yeah. You can check out. We've been doing some physique updates on Instagram and social media. So
yeah, nice. I take steroids, but I keep my dosages pretty low compared to bodybuilders. It's more like somewhere between TRT and a bodybuilder, but much closer to TRT.
And you're using the same hair loss protocol right now?
Yeah. So 1 milligram. Okay, actually, most recently I just started using saw Palmetto a lot more than Finasteride. So did you have thoughts? I mean, it definitely decreases DHT, and I'm not sure exactly how much compared to Finasteride, but I think when I looked into it before, it's like a full dosage of saw Palmetto is equivalent to taking some fraction of a dosage of Finasteride. So
yeah, probably. I mean, it has never been compared to one another. We know that it decreased like 30% DHT in the prostate in one study where they kind of tried to use it for prostate, enlarged prostate. But it is actually a natural version of dutasteride because, as I said before, it has the potential to block the type 1 and type 2 5-alpha reductase, and finasteride only blocks the type 2. So if you overdose saw Palmetto, you may actually get very theoretically strong inhibition, but then you get probably side effects. In fact, I got my worst side effects 6-7 years ago when I accidentally overdosed saw Palmetto. I think I took more. I forgot I used it in the morning. I took another one at night, and I got ED. Like, that was pretty first time in my life, 22 years old or 23. Like, I never had this. So I knew it was from this, and I didn't eat much on that day. So maybe, worked very good on my empty stomach. I don't know, but it was quite a bit. I think it was 400 milligrams, something like that. They give you these 180 milligram, so I used probably 360 together, something like that. Yeah, you can also overdose with this. Yeah,
that's wild. I'm sure like the potency varies depending on the manufacturer and where they source it from. Because I was taking, apparently 1,000 milligrams. There was some bottle on Amazon was like 1,000 milligrams per pill. I was taking that and didn't experience any side effects.
Wow.
And so that's really interesting. I feel like I feel like it probably wasn't as potent. I'm sure you can get various different degrees of
Yeah, like the most
saw
potent, if you want, what is the most potent saw palmetto will be in the oil version because it's made from all of these oleic acids, the saw palmetto. So if they put it in the like soft gel, then you know you have a better one, and it should have at least 85, 87% purity of those fatty acids, and then you have a really good one.
Nice. Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, either that, I'll take either that or Finasteride and use the Nizoral shampoo. And once in a while, I put ketoconazole on my scalp. More recently, I started once in a while putting Retin A on my scalp, in my face also. And yeah, Minoxidil and I take biotin now, even though it sounds like it's not going to be making much difference. And then I make sure to take all my B vitamins and pretty much any vitamin that has anything to do with hair.
Yeah. I mean, I started supplementing like crazy last 7-8 months, and I don't think I have noticed any substantial benefits. Any possible supplement like D, C, B, B12 is also very good for hair. But I have not seen much. I mean, I started also oral minoxidil like last 6-7 months, so it's hard to really tell what works here. But I mean, probably not the best example to judge on myself how the supplement additionally boosted my hair.
I don't remember your update video on the oral minoxidil, but I remember meaning to follow up with it. And did you end up getting any body hair from it?
Yeah, I made a follow-up this week on Monday. It was like 4 months and then nothing, and now 7 months. And it was a huge update actually, because the way I started using it, and I actually had it here. So it's essentially a supplement, like a tablet, not a tablet, but the capsule. And what I did, I opened the capsule and I put it under my tongue. So it's the sublingual version of taking it in. And this one I will be taking for the next 5-6 months to see whether it works better. It certainly leaves less minoxidil in your system, and that's good, even if you take the same dose I used before with just oral. So that's safer, more side effect free, and probably even more effective because it makes more of the minoxidil bioavailable. If you use it with a tablet, you just eat it, then it's going to be metabolized in the liver, and a portion of it will be inactive and less of it will be bioavailable. So you need to kind of overcome it by dosing more. But if you dose more, then you increase side effect potential with the oral one. So that's why the sublingual is good for me, but you kind of rely also on enough sulfotransferase in your scalp. It's the enzyme that converts the inactive minoxidil to the active one. So if you don't have enough of that, if you have been already kind of a non-responder to the conventional topical minoxidil, I think it's better to do the oral, not the sublingual one. But sublingual one is certainly practical, less easy to just use every day. And some people have issues with minoxidil products, dry scalp, whatnot. So yeah, it's a practical kind of thing to use it. But yeah, the body hair, I just grew a little bit longer shafts on the shoulders, but not more of them. Just the ones that used to be there, very small ones, got a little bit longer, maybe centimeter and a half. But I didn't get more hair density on my body. It just the hair looking a little bit maybe darker, and it grows faster also. So you need to shave a little bit from my trap area, but nothing bad. But I use little. I use 1 milligram. That's not much.
Yeah. How about eyebrows? Does all the same hair growth stuff work for eyebrows?
No, for eyebrow.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Honestly,
you could just fill it in like the girls do, man. Just use the pen.
With pen, it's too much work. I just want to.
No, you can for eyebrows. You can use a good product actually. It's called Bimatoprost. It's quite expensive, and you can put it on your eyebrows. That's a good stuff actually. But minoxidil in higher dose oral could maybe help with the eyebrow growth, but for me it didn't. Just 1 milligram. So I think it's not enough for eyebrows to also come in. But I think you have
By
good
the way,
eyebrows.
I used to have really amazing. I have good eyebrows, but they used to be amazing before. Like a girl would say, "You have beautiful eyebrows" to me. But
Wow.
then I got my eyebrows waxed, and they never
Mm.
grew back, and they waxed too much off.
Oh,
And I don't know why that.
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
does that mean I would have just lost my eyebrows anyways? I mean, the hair would have fallen out eventually, some way, somehow. Why, when she waxed it, all of a sudden now it doesn't grow back at all?
That's
I don't know what
interesting.
happened there. Maybe I was on a lot of a lot of steroids at the time or something. The DHT got in. Who knows? But I don't know. They just never really filled in the same.
I mean,
Never got my unibrow back.
I mean, you could test it with topical minoxidil and just apply it locally on your eyebrows for some time to see if there will be some stimulation. But that's interesting.
I did start doing that, and wasn't sure if I was crazy for doing it, so I always kind of hesitated. But now I won't hesitate. I'll do it, and I'll think of you, Matt.
Yeah, definitely think about that. Yeah. They have a good shape, but maybe you can make them a little bit like thicker, like a little bit that.
Yeah.
But they're quite long. They kind of extend
They
way.
appreciate
way far.
good eyebrows in Thailand. You notice the girls are really into eyebrows. They do a lot of eyebrow makeup, and more than other Asian cultures.
Wow.
Interesting. I need to visit next time. See what's going on there.
We can send you some behind the scenes footage sometime to entice you.
Absolutely, give me something to look forward to. I wanna have a good reason besides catching up with you guys.
All right, sounds good. Awesome. It's a 1 a.m. here, and I'm passing out. So, anything else you want to cover this time? We're just gonna check back with you after we grow some hair or whatever. Maybe a few months from now, if we make any progress or have any other follow-ups. All right. Cool, Matt.
For sure. All right. Have a good evening, guys. Great chatting with you, and catch up with you next time.